When we think about finding a path through suffering, we usually imagine some grand, complicated philosophy, right? But what if the answer didn't start there? What if it all began with a simple story about how to tune a lute? Let's dive into what that actually means. So picture this. A long, long time ago, Siddhartha is sitting by a river, and he overhears a musician on a boat teaching a student, and these are the words he hears. It's just a simple piece of musical advice, but for Siddhartha, bam, it was this huge moment of insight that would literally change everything he thought he knew about finding peace. And you have to understand, before this moment, Siddhartha had tried everything. He went all in on extreme discipline, fasting, pushing his body to the absolute limit, thinking that denying himself everything would bring him freedom. Well, that didn't work. So he swung the pendulum to the complete opposite end, a life of total comfort and pleasure. And guess what? That failed too. He was just stuck, bouncing between two dead ends. And then, right in that moment of being so stuck, he hears the musician's words, and it just clicks. That was it. The answer wasn't way over here or way over there. It was right in the middle, in the balance. Not too tight, not too loose. He called it the middle way. Okay, we need to pause here for a second because this is super important. This whole idea of the middle way, it gets really misunderstood. A lot of people hear that and think it means being, kind of lukewarm about everything, like never feeling too much passion, never caring too deeply. But that's not it at all, not even close. See, the middle way isn't about turning the volume down on your feelings. It's about finding that sweet spot, that optimal state where your nervous system can actually do its job. Let's think of it as the balanced range. When you're in this range, your emotions stop being these big, scary problems you have to fix. Instead, they become finely tuned instruments ready to play some beautiful music. All right, let's make this real. Let's talk about anxiety. If that lute string is way too loose, you're just suppressing your anxiety. You go numb, you feel disconnected, you can't even spot a real threat when it's right in front of you. Now, what if the string is pulled way too tight? That's when anxiety totally consumes you. It's overwhelming, you can't think straight. But right there in the middle, in that balanced range, anxiety is actually just awareness. It's focus. It's your body's early warning system working perfectly. That's the music. And it works the exact same way for anger. Strings too loose, you become a doormat. You're passive, you can't set boundaries or advocate for yourself. Strings too tight, that's rage. You just explode, no control, no clear thought. But what about anger in that balanced range? That's your protection. That's the part of you that stands up and says, hey, this is not okay. It is one of your most powerful protective tools, but only when it's tuned just right. So, if this balanced range is so great, why is it so freaking hard to stay there? Well, it turns out there are these two classic human traps that are constantly pulling us out of whack, yanking our strings either way too loose or way too tight. Trap number one is suppression. This is the too loose string. Think about it. A lot of us learned as kids that some feelings were just not okay. Maybe anger was bad, or being sad was a sign of weakness. So what did we do? We got really, really good at shoving them down. But here's the thing. Those feelings don't just disappear. Nope. They go underground, they build up pressure, and eventually they find another way out. And the music just stops. And then there's trap number two, being completely consumed. This is the total opposite. This is pulling that string so tight it's about to snap. You know this feeling. It's when an emotion just floods your entire system. You lose all perspective. It feels like that emotion is you. It's not something you're having. It's something you are. There's no space, no choice, just feeling, then reaction. Okay, so this is really the big question, isn't it? If we're constantly falling into one of these two traps, how in the world do we find our way back to the middle? How do we learn to tune our own instrument? The answer, and this is where ancient wisdom and modern brain science totally line up, is just one word: awareness. And I don't mean analyzing or trying to fix anything. I just mean a clear, honest, what's happening right now kind of awareness of what's going on inside you. This is the secret sauce right here. The second you can step back and just watch an emotion, the second you become the witness instead of the victim, you're not drowning anymore, and you're not pushing it down either. You found that little bit of space. And in that space, you've just brought your conductor, your wise adult brain, back to the podium to lead the orchestra. So how do we get there? Well, there are these three emotional states that can really help, sometimes called the light three. First, just get curious. Instead of judging a feeling, just ask, what is this? Second, be kind to yourself. Offer yourself some nurturing, the way you would for a good friend who's going through it. And third, find a little bit of lighthearted play, a sense of ease. It helps you hold on to the hard stuff without getting totally crushed by it. Okay, and this might be the most important takeaway of all. The middle way isn't some magical destination where you finally arrive and then, poof, you're enlightened forever. It's not a place, it's a path. It's a practice of coming back again and again and again. Listen, you are going to drift. You're going to find yourself pushing stuff down. You're going to find yourself getting totally consumed. That's not a failure. That's just being human. The real practice is simply noticing, oh, look, I've drifted, and then gently, without any drama, returning to the middle. That's the whole game. Every single time you come back, that's a win. So here's a super simple practice you can try, maybe just once a day. Check in and ask yourself this one question. Am I pushing something down right now? Is there a feeling I'm trying to avoid or that I've decided is not allowed? You don't have to do anything about it. Just noticing it, that's the first step back. And then here's the other side of the coin. The second question is, am I drowning in this? Is some emotion just completely taking over the show? If the answer is yes, just for a second, feel your feet on the ground, take one nice long breath out, and maybe quietly tell yourself, okay, I am the one feeling this. This feeling is not all of me. That's it. Those two little questions, am I pushing it down and am I drowning in it? That's your compass. They're the tools you can use absolutely anytime, anywhere to find your way back to that middle way, back to the music. And so here we are, right back where we started, with that wise musician on the boat. See, the whole point was never to get rid of the strings, to get rid of our emotions. It was always about learning how to tune them, not too tight and not too loose. Because that's where the music lives. It's not in the numbness, it's not in the chaos, it's right there, in between, in that perfect tension. And when you find that balance, that's when you start playing music you never even knew you had in you. So the real question is, what music is waiting to be played in you?